Commission, and the first thing on the agenda is the roll call.
Okay, Dan Cassett,
Present.
Bob Zurich, Bob Kleppel,
Present.
Kevin Creedy, Tessie Steffens,
Here.
Sparky Stuckenschneider,
Here.
Jeannie Miller-Wood, Dave Waymeyer, Betty Werner,
Here.
Gavin Woolley,
Here.
Al Bear, and Jeff Packey.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah, that's your name. You're in the right place. Let's see, the approval of minutes from the June 8th meeting.
I make a motion to accept.
I will second.
We have a motion by Tessie and second by Gavin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Parks and Recreation report, and you're going to welcome Jeannie Miller.
I wanted to make sure we didn't forget. Not that we've done that in the past, but
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. So,
Yeah.
yes, we have a
Good
new
idea.
new member, and I actually remembered to put something in the email too when we sent out the meeting agenda and everything. So we have a new member, Jeannie Miller-Wood, and I know in the past, at least since I've been here, Jeannie's been very supportive of the Parks Department and takes a lot of pictures of the parks and was always there when we were doing projects and kind of pushing the parks agenda out to the public. So, welcome.
Your report now.
My report, so things are moving along. We're starting to prepare for the fair. We've been doing stuff small, different things the last couple weeks. It'll kick in high gear here in the next week and a half. Finishing up the pavilions, Pavilion 3, concrete work's done. Pavilion 2, which is by the sand volleyball courts, concrete's all done, site's graded. Pavilion 1, concrete will be done hopefully by the end of this week. We have concrete. They told us we couldn't get concrete tomorrow, even though we ordered it. They might be able to fill us in, but hopefully we should be finishing up the concrete there on Friday. It'll get site graded. Water fountains are in, or will be in if they don't have them already, and barbecue pits are in, or will be in probably by the end of this week. I know at least one or two of them are
Both
in
the
already.
One's in.
3 and 2 have barbecue.
3 and 2, okay, yeah.
Both have barbecue. grill.
Bleckman's had a welded piece on one of them, or two of them. And so then the rock's going in, Pavilion 3, the columns are rocked, but they don't have caps on them yet. And then they were working on Pavilion 2 today. I didn't see how far along they got. And then once that one's finished, then they'll go to 1, and then we'll be out, everything will be out of there. We'll be out of there, and that project will finally be over.
I just would like to comment that they are beautiful.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
did
look
great.
Yeah,
fat.
they're turning out
Really
nice,
look
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
The rock
Stone
really
is
sets
just-
them off.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a
There.
big difference.
Everybody involved should be complimented and praised for the job that they've done, because it
And
really look.
And I don't know, I mean, I'll mention this again, I don't know if you all remember, but when I took that to the council, it was all bid out together, the electric, the rock, the pavilions and all that stuff, and we were over budget. And then council asked me to look into coming up with other options, because what I took to council initially was natural rock on the columns. And they had me look into other options, so I looked into, we had a price for natural rock, and then they wanted me to get a price for just like concrete looking rock, kind of like what's on the side of the main stage right now, and what we have at the pool, that retaining wall there. And then as I was looking into it, I found out about man-made rock, and that's what we have is man-made rock, and so that wound up being cheaper than the concrete looking rock and the actual natural rock. And so sounds like you all like it, so that's good. And we've been hearing positive comments on it, so that's good. But that wouldn't have been possible without the donation from the Lions Club. So, because they donated, they approached me, asked me if there's things in the park that we needed. And that just happened to be about the same time that this was all going on. And I said, well, the rock columns, it seems like it fits in with what you do out there, the Lions Lake, Lions Pavilions, and so they thought it was a natural fit too, and that's how we wound up with what we're getting, so.
And that was locally sourced as well, was it not? Didn't that come from Union?
Yes,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Nice.
Came from Union, so. So that's been the big project, and then now working on the fair, and then the tenant is in Waterworks, finishing up. She's painting and doing different things in there that she has to do to get ready for her business to start. She thought Wash Mow on the Go would possibly be up and running maybe mid-August. So most of that work was contracted out, but not everything. Just like a lot of our projects, there's always stuff the Parks Department does. This project had, and we're getting ready to start another one at the Freight Building here shortly, but this one had a lot more since the building's actually in a park. We had to get the gutters routed under the sidewalk. There were some trees that had to be removed so the sidewalk could be widened. That wasn't included in the project. The lighting on the front of the building, that was kind of like a last-minute idea, which I think turned out really nice. The front of the, if you haven't seen the pictures on Facebook or anything, the front of the building's lit now. And so
Take a drive.
as you come down Jefferson Street at night, it looks really nice. You can see the silhouette of the building. And we did add a park light, like a candy cane light, on the backside of that building because it was really dark there at night in that whole area. And so now that it's nicely lit at night, we just got to get grass. We're trying to get the irrigation. There is an irrigation system there. You wouldn't be able to tell right now. It hasn't ran in many years, and so there was, with all the other work that was going on down there, we will be able to get that up and running, and so that's why there's no straw or anything on it yet. We want to get the system up and running, and then we'll straw and seed it and get it looking nice. So probably one of the bigger things, though, that we need to do in conjunction with the fair is get the concrete that was poured on the lake dam this spring from fair money from last year. We got to get that backfilled because just with the way the concrete leveled out and everything like that, there's a pretty big lip on both sides, or not lip, but drop off on both sides. And so we'll get in there and backfill that before the fair so no one randomly steps off of there and falls in the water or down the embankment.
Update the water.
I haven't yet.
That's a chance it could happen even when you fill it in.
Could be refreshing the way you look at it. Depends which way you fall, I guess. And so that's a lot of our projects. That's what we've been working on lately. And I'm in the middle of budget process. I do have good news. We had one open position still, and I had a second interview with the gentleman on Friday, and we are hiring the last spot that we had open. So we've been, as you guys know, as many as 3 staff short at different times of the year. It all started last year right before the fair. We had the first person leave, and then we had a couple more leave after that, and we filled a few here and there. And so this is the last position to fill, and the person that will be filling the position, 1, lives very close to the shop, but 2, has a skill set that we've been looking for. We had someone leave that was kind of our carpentry guy, and this guy, he's been remodeling kitchens in St. Louis, kitchens and baths in St. Louis for 20 years, so I'm hoping that he can do some of the carpentry work that we have been lacking here over the last year. So it'll be good to have
How
a,
many employees, full-time employees does that make then?
well, if you include myself and Robin and Casey and everything, that's, so admin staff and park maintenance, it's like 15.
13,
15.
15?
And we have a couple seasonals that are helping us out with grass and trimming and things, so, this summer. So that's good news. I think that's it for report. If anyone's got any questions or,
Communications from the audience? Anybody have it?
that's you.
That'd be you. It can't
That'd be you.
Mike.
You're our audience, yeah.
Oh, I just realized that's backwards from the, yeah, you could turn that, the whole thing's backwards, but this will work for now. We get the microphone going, there you go.
Testing. Good evening, I'm Maureen King, and I came this evening to talk to you all about the tennis/pickleball courts at the fairgrounds. I came in May, and at that time, we presented a proposal for renovating the dilapidated old courts out there. And so I'm just kind of coming back, and there's a lot of us interested in this endeavor, and I'm just coming back now to see if there's any updates or any information available on our request, our proposal. And I can review what we've done so far as a civic group to try to encourage this development, and if you would like, but basically what I'm hearing from Wayne is that it's definitely a budgeting issue that will have to be looked at. But I just came tonight and let you all know that we're still interested. There's a big group of us that are interested in seeing some renovation or some improvement made at those tennis courts, because it's a really eyesore, and it could be renovated into a wonderful, fun area for families and children. I told Wayne, this is not a personal endeavor I'm taking on here. I'm doing it for the families and the community, the people on the north side of Highway 100. Phoenix is great, and I want to congratulate you all on what you've done in our city. I've seen so many improvements, and done a great job here, but I think that is one that is sorely lacking. It hurts to see those old courts, because in the shape they're in, my kids grew up playing tennis there. My son won a tournament there when he was 13 years old, and we just had a lot of fun out there, and I think it would just be a great addition to that recreation area there. You got the pool, why not some courts? And pickleball, it could be like they've done at Phoenix Park, have courts that are pickleball tennis, and they can be marked for each. And so that's kind of where I am right now. I'm just want to let you know that we're still interested, and if there's anything we as a group can do to maybe get this moving a little bit sooner than 2025, was I?
Well, next sales tax, I think, will be in '26. And and you guys can I was filling her in a little bit, because she wasn't here last meeting. Last meeting, we had a group, it was mainly a pickleball group, but I think there was a couple tennis people in there too, but mainly pickleball, that spoke, kind of like what you're doing now, on behalf of the courts and everything like that. And the city administrator was here, and he kind of gave an update, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like I don't think anyone disagrees that the courts, it is an eyesore, they do look bad. I don't think anyone necessarily disagreed that, something new could be used up, could go in up there. But it is, I think Darren was saying that it probably is a budgeting thing, and probably would likely be in the next half-cent sales tax, budgeted that way, because it is a big project. I do have an update for you all, because I thought I would have it for last meeting, but she didn't get it to me in time. But I do have some budget estimate numbers that I can give you guys here in a little bit.
At one time, didn't we talk about that being a combination, pickleball,
Yes,
basketball?
pickleball and tennis.
Pickleball tennis.
Tennis, yeah.
Well, we
We've
talked
talked
about basketball.
We've
Oh, that
talked
was
about,
before
long
mine.
time ago, we talked about
That's what I
basketball.
thought.
And I've got an idea as far as, bringing up basketball and pickleball. And this is, just something that popped up. What about swapping the current tennis court into a basketball area and shifting pickleball perhaps to the slab where the two basketball goals are, just to the east of the concession stand? I don't, it would probably entail putting a layer of asphalt perhaps on top of the concrete, to get a more level playing surface for pickleball. I don't know, how the expansion joints,
Yeah.
in that slab are. and, how true it could play.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
And then, the same scenario down on the old tennis courts, put a layer of asphalt on that, and perhaps redo the fence. Lighting's already there. I don't know, how much lighting and demand that, basketball brings out there, but, just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably open at this point to any ideas.
The biggest problem was there's evidently on the tennis court that's there,
Yeah,
it keeps deteriorating
Oh, that's
because
right.
there's water problems. They have to figure out what the water problems are first.
yeah.
And that, I mean, that-
Something's draining in that area.
yeah, they need to put some drainage under it, something.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm not an engineer.
Other than the actual tennis surface, yeah, the asphalt is somewhat deteriorated, but it's not heaved and, broken and crumbled. It's
Well, that's, well, the one thing
it's the
is-
tennis surface that has deteriorated.
Yeah, the tennis surface, and we spent, a long time ago, money to resurface it and redo it, and within a couple years at most, the whole
was all
thing was
cracked up
crumbling
again.
again. It's kind of like what happened down at where we did the skateboard park. Those tennis courts originally, there was water underneath there, and it was causing those courts to disintegrate. And so then when we came up with the move, you know what I mean, when they went in to do the skateboard, they were trying to redo the drainage underneath. So it's not like it's not a good idea, but I think before we even spend money on on asphalting the tennis courts, we need to figure out the water problem to it, because it won't last long. You know what I mean? It would be, I don't know how much it would cost to asphalt that court, but if you've got water constantly going under it, it's not gonna last very long. So, I mean, that's always been the issue, and maybe with some of the figures, we can see, you know what I mean, what it would cost. But the other thing with the group that came, and it was brought up by council members too, some ideas were brought forward about, and I think you had one, but about donations and fundraising. That was one idea. And the other thing was that the groups get together, and once we get some facts and figures, and work together so the presentation could be made on how you'd like to see it done. You know what I mean? But, so that's what we talked about a little bit last month too, was they were very interested, and we talked about possibly raising money. And you, was it your son that had, through a corporation?
It was Kathy
Yeah,
Zoris.
had
Zorist.
$1,000. And so we compared it a little bit. It's nothing the same, but like the people who did the dog park, they wanted a dog park, and they worked for like 5 years to figure out ways to raise money and to contribute. And I think if something like that, if you'd like to see it done sooner, we're gonna have to come up with some creative fundraising, because it's not gonna be in the city's budget
Yeah,
with the projects that we've already put forward and the money that we've already, and then, of course, with a lot of these projects, the costs have gone up, so then like the Lions with the rocks, you know what I mean? So that's the issue.
yeah. Well, I appreciate your consideration, and I was telling Wayne, I wish when suggestions were made for improvement for the city at that time, I wish we had brought this forth then, because maybe then something could have been budgeted for this.
Right.
And,
So now, the next date is 2026 unless,
Ooh, that's a long time.
I know,
Uh,
I know.
But you know,
We
look at,
still have a lot of projects we're
I know, and it looks good, and I appreciate all of you do on the commission here, but that is just an eyesore there, and it could be just so vital and nice. And as I was listening to this, I have a question. Now, did this water underneath the courts just start recently?
No, it's been there for a long time.
Now, when were those courts built?
Oh, God.
Early 60s.
Early 60s? Okay, so has this been a constant problem with
Yeah.
Yes.
erosion there? Has it?
Yep,
Underneath?
yep. And we didn't realize, so the first couple times, you know, would budget or allocate or ask for money to come in and, you know, fill the cracks or re-asphalt it or re-cement it or do whatever needed to be done, because at that point, for a long time, those were the only tennis courts in town. And within 2 or 3 years, they're back to being very dangerous and people getting hurt playing on them. So it's been an issue, and we don't know, I mean, I'm not,
We stopped wasting money,
well, we just said we
because
have
that's
to,
what it was happening, is just wasting money.
yeah.
And I was explaining before the meeting, like, and I know she's mentioned the word eyesore a couple times, and the history I have, at least since I've been here anyways, is that I don't know why when we stopped using them, I don't know why they weren't torn out right away, but I know now, after being here for a while, that they get used once a year for storage next month. And I don't know if that's part of the reason they didn't get torn out or what, but then since I've been here, I came in at the beginning of the first 8 years, and I've seen all the projects lined up, plotted in the years. And I knew that the Fair Board, one of their projects is a new restroom up there in that area, restroom/concession stand, and it'll be closer to the motorsports arena. So since I've been here, the thought process has always been, we'll leave them be until we tear down the bathroom, and then when we tear down the bathroom, we'll take out the tennis courts, and that whole area then will be green space again. Because the new building will be pushed up closer to the bleachers in the motorsport arena. And so that's why there hasn't been a big rush, at least in the last 3.5 years, to tear them down, because they do get used 1 week a year or 2 weeks a year for storage. But then we also knew that we're going to be tearing out the bathrooms in a year or two anyways. So it kind
I
of just
think
left.
with our limited budget, the only time we get things built around here is whenever, every 8 years,
Yeah.
when we vote. And that's how we got the swimming pool, that's how we got the pavilions done. 50% of the park, over 50% of the municipal parks in Missouri have their income coming from sales tax. And in my opinion, that's where we need to go eventually. That's what we need to do, so that we can do these things annually rather than wait for that sales tax to happen.
I wholeheartedly,
I agree.
I think we all agree that that is an eyesore, and something needs to be done with it. But
Pickleball
our
courts.
hands are basically tied right now.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have the money. We don't
Yeah.
have it.
and I think
So-
you're bringing up the possibility of a sales tax to support the parks, a designated sales tax to support the parks is something we need to investigate.
And then above what's already in place?
Well, I would assume we would have to let the current capital improvement run its course and be fulfilled, and then address it, prior to seeking renewal of that.
Yeah.
Gavin,
Okay.
before I was on some other committees and that have since sales tax, well, we talked about a 1/16 of a cent for the parks. They don't want to do anything with a new tax until the road tax is done, which pays for Highway 100.
And how long is that, Dan?
I think 24, but then I think, could be wrong, because I got off that committee now, but Highway 47 was next, and they wanted to shove that before the parks.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Well, I'm sure of that, but it needs to be discussed anyway. It needs to be put on the agenda.
We discussed it, I don't know.
Well, we discussed it, but we should bring it back around.
I'll add this and just
I
leave it.
mean, because there's what percentage, and, I mean, I don't think it hurts to discuss it.
No.
And what the needs are, because we say this, but, there's a whole committee that reviews all the projects for the half-cent sales tax. Now, in the last 2 terms, the park has done very well with things that we needed to be done. But who's to say what the next 8 years could bring? Because you've got the fire department, and they have things, you've got all of these entities vying for this money, and we have been blessed the last 2 times. But, there's no guarantees depending on what the projects are. But I don't, just like we need to maybe talk about the sales tax, I don't think it's a bad thing to get a group together to plan maybe something what you would like to see, or you know what I mean? And maybe with when we get more costs and things, so we're ready to say, okay, this is one of the projects, because I don't know that we're gonna get a sales tax before then.
Right, and as far as the timeframe, when would that be?
Well, usually the committee, they usually begin, I think if you have anything, I would say a year ahead, about.
At least,
maybe-
yeah.
That's about right.
3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
To have it all together? Okay,
Well, that'd be now then, or almost now, next year.
okay,
I mean, yeah, you get the things, it should never stop. We should always be
Be planning,
talking
yes.
about these things.
Right,
and-
right.
And get it on our agenda and on our wish list, so that when it happens, that
we've got a plan,
we're prepared.
right.
We're prepared for it.
So I'll add this and just leave it be, but there has been recently, very recently, internal discussions, and even with the new mayor about half cent or some kind of tax for the parks. So they're at least open to it. I think in the past, it was always kind of shut down, kind of what Dan was saying. But there's talk, and it hasn't been brought to you all yet, but I know they've talked about coming soon, or at least, starting the discussion with you all, so.
On top of what we already pay in sales tax, they're gonna add another 0.5%?
No,
it
see,
would
this
be
is
depending
not,
on
this
what
is
we
not.
say.
the-
Like maybe, so whatever you pay in sales tax, this is just off the top of my head, maybe 1/8 of a cent of that would go into a park fund.
Yeah,
Or
there's a
an
whole bunch of
additional
ways to do it.
1/8 of a cent be added on to whatever, and then that money is directed directly to the parks. So like
Capital
Union
improvements.
did
For
one.
capital improvements.
Yeah, but Union has it, and Pacific just has it, they just got one too. So if you notice, Pacific is doing a whole big drawing on a new skateboard park, and Union has done several things in their community, and it's all came about from their, I call it a half cent, I don't know how much they get, but their park sales
Approximately a
tax.
half, that's correct.
Well, I appreciate your time and consideration, and so bottom line right now is that we need to wait. If we're waiting for the city to do anything, Park Commission, we have to wait until this tax is approved, is that right? But if
Till there's money available.
Yeah, till we get money.
Is
Yeah.
we as a group, and that would be like 2020, what?
I think you can start now
Start
with,
now.
with your planning and what you want done, what you would prefer to have it done.
Tennis courts and pickleball courts.
Okay.
It can be either way.
Okay.
You mean to actually get bids and get work
Oh, no,
together?
No.
No, we'll take care of that. Just
Okay.
thoughts, ideas, what you want.
Oh, well, we know that. So,
Okay,
should we'll come back next meeting with maybe some more concrete ideas?
sure.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
But we don't meet in August, so it'd be in September.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, we're not meeting in September?
no, we're meeting in September, we're also meeting in August, though.
Oh, this is new. Okay, come in August.
We used to meet the first week.
We are, I didn't know we
You
were.
didn't read the
Yeah,
email
because
very
we
quickly.
have a group coming
Oh,
sent to you all that you don't know about yet.
oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
This is
and
so
as
much
for-
fun.
We can maybe look at funding, civic funding options, community.
Fundraising ideas.
Like
Fundraising.
Park did.
Yes.
Yep, fundraising ideas are great.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, wake up.
Yeah,
Scott.
wake up.
Old business, fairground tennis courts. How about that? It's on our agenda.
So this is the update that I was going to give you guys. Shortly after our last meeting, I got the estimate, and it's a rough budget estimate, based on the pictures I sent her, and one of her coworkers was out here and looked at the facility. But this would include, this pricing would include, and it's depending on when the project if it happens and when it happens, it's likely to go up. Let's see, where's it at? Okay. Includes removal of existing asphalt fence and rock, installing drainage system, new rock, fencing, net equipment, curb for asphalt option, and asphalt/concrete and surfacing. Does not include retaining wall, which we probably need something over there by that house, and lighting. And so, estimates for the asphalt estimate, plus everything I just described to you, was 281,000. And then for the post-tension concrete, which I don't know how much you do or don't know about tennis courts, at the last place I worked, they had post-tension, and it was just put in right before I started. The post-tension is, it's pretty much guaranteed or almost guaranteed not to crack, but it's a lot more. And so post-tension concrete's 438,000.
They
And-
do post-tension on flat work?
I mean, tennis courts, yeah. Yeah, it's a thing. It's like, it's really nice. Like, I think there's only one or maybe two, there are only a couple vendors in St. Louis that do it. And I know VJ Concrete does it for sure, because that's who did the last place I was at. And so it doesn't, yeah, I'd have to get more information to y'all and stuff, but it pretty much doesn't crack, where asphalt does. And so that's where we're at. It's not cheap, and I knew it wouldn't be, because basically we're doing a start over out there because of the drainage system and stuff like that. And we do need to address that hill over there. We can't maintain the hill by that house. It grows up in weeds, and I have to send the guys out there to trim. And I know that every once in a while we forget about it, and they call and complain, and we go out there, scramble and go out there. And so we do need to do something.
And if
I would like to see if we could grade it out, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. But
So that does not include a retaining wall, which probably needs to be put in, lighting. What about
Lighting.
fencing?
did I? I couldn't remember if I mentioned. I did mention fencing.
So
It is-
that's included
Does
in-
include fencing, yes,
Okay, that's good.
but not lighting. And I asked Chad, because I've never seen the lights work since I've been here, and he said the system's pretty old and probably should be replaced if we're doing this.
You're redoing it.
Yeah.
But you've talked about taking the bathroom out. How does that affect, I mean, if, we're talking about redoing the tennis court and the bathroom?
No, the bathroom concession stand project's a separate in this 8 years. I think it's budgeted for next year or the year after, I can't remember.
And that's a fair board project.
That's a Fair Board project.
They come forward with projects as
Is
well.
it gonna be in the
Okay.
same spot?
And they're gonna
Same
move
location?
No, they want to move it closer to the bleachers and the
So
motorsports.
they want,
Concession
they wanna
stand
move it
is?
south.
Okay, so.
Yes,
And they got that money.
And-
They made
Which
the
makes sense.
proposal.
Is
For the
the
fair.
tennis,
Okay.
So that's-
is the
that we
tennis
don't have
courts,
anything
is
to do.
what you
I
have?
mean, we maintain
Same
it,
size,
but
same location?
That's their.
yeah, same low general area there, yeah. And without the bathroom, there might be a little more area there.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Explain that.
Then would anything be done with that camper sewage system, or would that remain
I think it would
intact?
remain there, it's outside the fence. I imagine it would remain there.
Yeah,
So, I guess anything else?
yeah. Anything else on
About
the
that?
tennis courts?
No.
Lions Lake Pavilions?
I kind of gave an update where we were just a little bit ago in my report. And so we're moving along, almost finished with that project.
Highway 100 medians?
Medians, not a whole lot to talk about there. Committees, there's emails going back and forth. We're still working on a plan. We're likely due for an in-person meeting here shortly. The medians, one of them caught on fire today. Again, yes. Yeah.
All right, which one of you guys were smoking?
One of them looks like you guys worked on, and it looks really good.
We worked on 3 of the 4.
The fourth one is still,
It's the Walmart one we haven't worked on yet, and
Okay.
we were scheduled to go out there this week, and I pulled the guys off of it so we could get out of the pavilions before the fair starts.
right.
And the way I look at it, the way Darren Lamb and I looked at it, what's one more week? They haven't been in good condition all year. What's
Right.
one more week?
And get the
Regardless,
companies done.
if we had done them, if we had completed them this week or next week, we're still going to get complaints.
Right.
So it's a no-win situation.
which one caught on fire?
I'm not sure which one it was. And it happened 2 weeks ago also.
Yeah.
I hear this.
Happens, yeah, every once in a while.
Like somebody flips their cigarette out.
Yes.
And it's dry and it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know,
Most of the time it happens in the
Molotov
spring.
cocktail.
okay.
It's what?
Most of the time it happens in the spring, like March, when the humidity's low and the winds are high. And the problem then is we usually have the irrigation off, it's winterized, but we haven't been using it in a couple years. So now it doesn't work, it hasn't worked. We stopped using it for two reasons. One, the plants don't really need it anymore. And two, there was issues with it, so we stopped using it. Now if we want to start using it, it's going to be a big ordeal to get it up and running and stuff like that. So right now, we couldn't use it if we wanted to. And regardless, depending on what's going to go in there and how it goes in there, we may be redoing it anyway, so. That's basically, I wanted to just let you know we're still working. The committee's still, there's emails going back and forth, there's concepts going back and forth, and then we're likely due for a meeting, in-person meeting soon, and then probably push something out to the public in the next month or two,
Okay.
so.
Any other questions on the?
No, I would just like to report on the tree that was vandalized about 2 years ago along.
Looks great.
That's international, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was
You-
chopped down and you guys are doing a great, it's
Well,
coming.
you know what we have to, in all fairness, we need to give Franz credit for that. So we have the tree committee.
Okay.
And 3 times now, I've seen, ever since that tree, Franz, who is on the tree committee and lives across the river, he is there, he's wrapped it, he's watered it.
Yep.
It is like his baby. And
Okay.
so though, it really looks good.
It
So
does.
I think we need to all say thank you to Franz because
Fran-
he,
Franz being Franz Mayer.
yes.
Yes.
He's on our tree board and he's out there like it's his baby.
He's amazing.
He is an amazing man, and he's done very well with
He
that
has,
tree.
yeah.
It looks very well. So we should thank him. He secretly
Absolutely.
goes out early in the morning, or he tries not to be seen. but
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
He's gotten caught a few times.
Okay.
I'll pass it on. We have urban forestry meeting next Wednesday, so I'll
Let him
pass it
know.
on. And I have thanked him myself because it does look, I drive through there when I come to work sometimes, and it does look good.
It's a little orphan.
New business?
New business, so this
Potential
is
Riverfront Playground,
what I
and a
prefaced.
presentation at our now August meeting.
So I went back and looked because I couldn't remember myself. We had a meeting last August, but it was a special meeting up at soccer, if you guys remember
Oh,
that.
yes.
Oh, yes.
And then the year before, I think we also had a August meeting, because I probably couldn't remember if we, in my
Because I
first
did-
year, so 3 years ago, 3 years ago, we didn't have an August meeting.
Right.
And then
Well,
the
now-
year after that, I think I forgot, and we had one. And then last year, we had a special meeting. So downtown would like to come to you all, downtown Washington. Tyler, if his wife's not having a baby by that time, someone from that group will come and present and I have talked about this before, a playground for Riverfront Park. And so there's a concept, it hasn't been finalized, but there's a design out there that they want to come and present to you guys, a price, and a location. And so they would like to present that all to you guys next meeting. And the way they look at it, sooner is better, so they can they want to fundraise for it. Tyler's already applied for some grants for it, and you know how grants, it takes a while to get notification. So those are out there. He's been talking just verbally to some of the local organizations about funding it, and there's been some interest there. And so they can go over all that next meeting. But we have a real nice, I helped them get it made. Same company that we used at Phoenix. The lady made a real nice poster board of the playground with different features on it and things like that. And nothing's been decided, colors haven't been decided. So whatever you see on there is, all of it's debatable, you know, can all be selected at a later time. It's just the actual structure.
So that would be August 10th?
Yes, at, same time, 5:30 here in the council chambers.
Okay.
Okay. And then the Bush Creek
I do
Greenway?
say I would have liked not to had a meeting in August, but this kind of,
We'll try to remind you.
kinda
for-
important,
We'll
so.
try to remind you for next year.
yeah. And then finally, under new business, Bush Creek Greenway. So if you recall, I think it was in December, our December meeting, engineering, Andrea, the assistant engineer, and Darren Lamb was here, and I can't remember, Sal, I think, Sal Maniaci was here. And they presented what Bush Creek Greenway is and how Parks Department will be, will be in charge of it once it's built. And so hopefully you guys have noticed it's going in over off 8th Street and up by the high school and everything like that. And so,
Is it also going in down there by South Point?
yes, it'll go.
Okay, that's,
go
I
down.
thought that's what that,
And if you recall, some of it's, what you see off 8th Street here is the off-street portion, but a majority of it will be on-street portion. So like down by the skate park and over by South Point, that'll be, if I recall, most of that through there is on-street. So there'll be a lane on the
They're
street.
doing there's something digging a path.
yeah. it's
Oh,
like-
maybe it is.
It's a
There is a
path that
portion, I
goes
think,
around.
up on that levee.
Yeah, there's a
by the
path that
Below,
goes
below the
around.
levee, yeah,
Yeah, it goes around where they tore it all down.
right.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's coming up
That's through there.
around by the levee. I guess it's gonna connect, will that eventually go to Ninth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
So I think it's on 9th is where it's off,
Yeah.
or
I
on
mean,
street
It
again.
looks just like a path.
It goes on and off, back and forth.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know, because it is going in, so it'll be done, I think by the end of for sure by the end of the year, so,
I'm sorry, when?
by the end of the year, for
End of the
sure.
year.
And I've been working with them a little bit on, as things pop up, signage and stuff like that, so we'll have the signage, the trail signs that you see on the Riverfront Trail, trail etiquette signs, those will be on that greenway.
Is that the same size as the Riverfront Trail?
No,
The
it's-
width, it's gonna be less?
No, it's
No, actually, it's, I think it's,
a lot smaller.
it's concrete, so that's the biggest difference. And I
Okay.
think it's
It looks like one lane
8
versus
feet?
two.
8 feet?
it's 8 or 10, I can't remember now.
Isn't-
Because I forget, the East Trail is 10, the West Trail's 12 feet wide, and this, I think, is 8 or 10.
Yeah, it looks smaller.
It's small. And that is primarily funded by grants?
Yes, transportation grants,
That was, okay.
yes.
So that didn't come out of our money for
No,
the, okay.
But that's all I had for that, it's going in. We really haven't had much to do with it, other than some signage and stuff like that, but.
Okay.
That's it.
Nothing else? Any other comments, questions from?
Just the pool's going well?
Pool's going well. I haven't ran numbers. I was thinking about that the other day. We'll probably try to get you some numbers for the next meeting. I think that's what we did last year too, was the August meeting. And I know the finance director, she said June of last year compared to June of this year, the numbers financially were up, so
Good.
that's good. And
Good weather,
attendance
good weather for
seems
the
to be going
pool.
well. It's been hot enough, that's for sure.
Yeah, good. And we haven't had to turn people away.
And I guess, I don't know if it was in last month or not, but the umbrella is here, the
Yeah.
umbrella
and
that
it
was
looks good.
donated, yeah. And so, the installers for Westport, the people that built the pool, I had them install it, because they're professionals at doing that. It's a big task to put one of the, and all that stuff's heavy too, to assemble one of those umbrellas. They like the color scheme, because it's all got yellow, all the
Yeah.
umbrellas have yellow, and it's red and yellow, blue and yellow,
Really
orange
bright
and
and
yellow,
pretty.
and they said it was in a good location, so people seem to like it. That's it. That's all I have.
Any other comments? I may have a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn?
We have a motion on the floor by Betty.
I will second.
Second by Gavin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
See you in August.
You got it.
So we'll stay in touch.
Is that my name on here?
Yes, sir, buddy.
Yeah,